the Village of Midlothian Board meeting for February 10th, 2016 to order. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis. Here. Trustee Ivan.
Here.
Trustee Killily. Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Mosco.
Here.
Mayor Ryder.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Please stand for the pledge, and after the pledge, remain standing for a moment of silence for our veterans. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now would be your time to do so.
Hi, Kathy Caveney. Just curious to know how the job search is going for superintendent. I saw the ad in the paper, looked good. I saw the ad on online on on Career Builders.
We've taken in one more application,
Okay.
so we're hoping that it'll generate more in the next week or so.
And I noticed that a lot of important village news was posted on the homepage of the village website, which looked great, so that's a step in the right direction using the website. A couple questions for Trustee Killily, but he's not here yet, so I'll just throw them out to the board, and maybe when he gets here, we can address it. Wasn't able to come to last week's meeting, but I watched it online and listened in that there were some raises for some village employees that were approved. And I was just curious to know, were those administrative staff, police, fire? It was kind of hard to tell in the video who was getting a raise. I mean, I couldn't hear it very well.
It was for administrative upfront personnel and building department.
For all of them, like collectively, like all the
Not
clerical
collectively,
or-
just certain ones that had anniversary dates or had job description changes due to restructuring up front.
So we had talked about this before, if someone's role is going to change, or even if it stays the same, were there goals put in place? Are these raises based on their performance versus just the fact that they've been here for another year? Because I thought that last year, when the board was going through, writing out policies and procedures, that was going to be included, that raises were going to be based on performance and not just an anniversary date.
And these were based on their performances. They were reviewed, and they were based.
Okay. Under Trustee Killily's business, he's got approval of the 15-16 budget. So I'm just wondering where we're at with the final. I don't know if McGladrey was re-auditing or reworking the 13-14 audit because of the whole bond mess. Where we're at with that, where we're at with the audit from last year, if we're approving a budget already for this year, what's going on?
I actually have a call and an email into John George from McGladrey to find out the status of the 2014 audit. They did come out after they were waiting for the Crow-Horwath report. Once they got it, they did come in. They spent a day here reviewing that, which is what I was told is normal, and testing it, and they haven't been back since.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to hear back because even the state's asking me again, and I'd like to know that just as well, Kathy.
Okay, all right. And last question, have we heard back from Brian at IDNR with regards to the village's response to the CAD letter, the 96 pages Jeff sent?
I ran into him, Karen.
Yeah, I actually, last Wednesday, there was a meeting, FEMA sponsored it about flooding, and Helen was there, and Brian was there, and I talked to Brian, and he said we will be getting a letter very shortly.
Okay.
And Engineer Koza followed up with him as well, and he responded the same. And he did say, I think in the email, Jeff, he said the information was very helpful.
Much improved.
Much improved. So we should be,
I'm expecting
I
a letter.
had a very good conversation with him. I know Joe had talked to him too, and he reassured me that all Joe has to do is pick up the phone. He said Joe knows how to get a hold of me. So I think we have the start of a good working relationship with Brian. Obviously, he wants us to follow the rules.
But he said he's going to respond to that letter
Yes,
shortly.
yes.
Okay.
He also said it looks pretty good for us.
Wonderful.
And he was very pleased, and that he doesn't see us getting knocked out of the National Floodplain Insurance.
Okay, that's good news. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
George Hilton, 147 Midlothian. Just point of information here, today I got 3 different phone calls, scam phone calls on the IRS saying, if you don't call us back, they got a lawsuit against you and everything else. I reported to the police department of that, but I did get 3 of them today, just to let people know that they are calling in this area right now.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes.
Valerie Weiskirk, Midlothian, Illinois. Couple quick things. I don't know if the board knows or not. Did you ever let the board know that the Public Access Counselor's Office was investigating the meeting minutes that were not approved? So the board does know about it. And then did you respond in time to the 7-day?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I'm just waiting for
I
their
haven't gotten a response from them either.
response. Okay, one of the other things that I thought important was the South Suburban Joint Action Water Agency issue. Even last week, it being any new news and then nope, and that being the only update is entirely intolerable at this point, and I hope the entire board will join me in that position, including you, Mayor Ryback. September 10th, 2014 is when we demanded to be out of it, and any notion that any pennies, let alone nickels and dimes, that they're accruing right now, even with these meetings that they call Killily 2, let alone any other suggestions of our insurance policy or any of these things, is beyond the absurd, and I have yet to really hear this board discuss what exactly we're going to do to extract ourselves from this, whether it's dissolved or not, I think is irrelevant at this point, and it needs to be more frequently on the agenda, brought up and discussed and stayed ahead of. And then the third thing that I'm curious, what is the status on the $88,000 that needs to be reimbursed to the village? What are the plans in place to go ahead and put that money back into the actual bank accounts, not the bond account, but the actual bank accounts? Because every day that goes by that we don't have that, that's copies of the Tartan Tidings that could have already been sent out, you know, among even other items. What's the plan at this point to go ahead and get that reimbursement taken care of?
The board really has not discussed the reimbursement of that or any of the other misappropriated bond money, so we will be working on putting all the monies back very shortly, I'm sure.
Well, but one of them came from DART's office saying that it had to specifically be reimbursed rather than it being commingled with the issue of Crow-Horwath's audit, which quite frankly is questionable at best to begin with. So what are your specific plans to replace the $88,000 that you misappropriated and spent without board authority? Are you trying to pursue grants, for example? I mean, have you been asking to borrow money from people? What are we looking at here for a solution from you?
Well, we were issued a grant that went on hold, so I'm assuming once the state relinquishes and gets their act together, that the grant money will be available again.
The grant was never released from the state, ever. There's 2 separate contracts. You only did the work in progress. The actual contract was never, ever approved. So there was
I've been reassured by my grant writer and the issuer who offered it to us, Senator Harris, that those monies are still.
This isn't
coming.
Senator Harris's grant with the fire hydrants. This is the grant money that was supposed to come from Bill Davis.
Oh, Will Davis, yes, I'm sorry.
Because there are 2 separate ones,
Yes.
and Napoleon Harris's, some of it was released, yes,
Yes.
but not with Representative Davis's grant. That was never approved, and you're giving us reassurances from others. Doesn't cut it at all, kind of thing. This is one of those things you should be very unsettled to begin with and should be pounding down doors at this point to get the money in the door. And no matter what the state gives you as a reason, it should be intolerable for you if you still believe that the grant money is what's supposed to be covering that $88,000 loss.
I appreciate your comments, Val.
Okay.
Would there be anybody else that would like to address the board? With no further comment from the public, I will close the floor to public comment. I'm sorry, did I miss somebody? Okay. And move on to our trustees. I'd be looking for the approval of the consent agenda. This evening, we'd be looking for, on the consent agenda, the bill list and the treasurer's report for December 2015. December 2015.
Okay.
I said it right, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
No second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Maskell? Aye. Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Killily?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Trustee LaRue?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Move on to trustee business. Trustee Price.
The first item we have on the agenda is an update on the grills hardware. With the board's approval, I'd like to give this to Attorney Gleason to draft an agreement with him. It would be some type of a redevelopment agreement. And I've been in contact with Mr. Turhart as well as Trustee Moskal. He thought the proposal was fair. And I would like to have that ready for approval at our next meeting. I told him that I would have it ready for our next meeting because he asked me to send it to him for his signature. So I'd like to get the board to approve it and we could forward it to him. Any questions?
Which one do you think was fair? The option C?
Yes, for 5 years.
He's not asking for a Class A.
That he thought this was fair. So I think that it's good news. Also, we had a suggestion from a resident, Dale Weiskirk. I can talk to you about this some more. Okay, he's already done a number of things he's going to add some more, okay? But this is what the board agreed to. If Gail and I can work together, okay? About him becoming a rain-ready store for all of a resident's rain-ready needs, and he really embraced that idea. And I am going to invite him to our next rain-ready steering committee. So I think that's exciting, and I got more to update you on how rain-ready's really taken off. So Trustee Moskal actually put that together, so both of us can work with you. I've had the communication with Mr. Turner, but of course, Alan put the CPA hat on and worked up a number of scenarios, and that was the scenario that the board agreed on. Update on the US EPA grant. I had a meeting with Peter Camberos, our environmental consultant. We still have quite a bit of money left in our grant. It expires in September. We are still seeking additional commercial industrial properties that would be eligible for phase 1 and phase 2 studies. So board members, put on your thinking caps. Help me with this if you can think of anything. We also have to have an additional community outreach meeting. And I'm going to try to tie that into the Rain Ready plan as well. And we're targeting hopefully the first week in April, so stay tuned. I think we've had 2 already, but that is a grant requirement. A couple other updates that I have. I attended the Calumet Stormwater Collaborative meeting on Friday, and Midlothian was called their municipal superstar. And I really, I'm pretty proud of that. A lot of people there, a lot of people paying attention to Midlothian. And in that same vein, I received a phone call yesterday from Deborah Johnson in Washington, D.C., who's the communications director for Congressman Bobby Rush. And she wanted to talk to me about the recent legislation the Village of Midlothian just passed regarding flooding in the 1st Congressional District. So I returned her phone call, and I shared with her our Rain Ready plan in Molly Ocean's blog, and her response was, she acknowledged receipt, and I actually talked to her after that, but her email stated, "I greatly appreciate you sharing this information. I look forward to speaking with you again soon." So I'm not quite sure how Congressman Rush's office in Washington, D.C. found out about the Rain Ready plan. I do know that CNT has sent out numerous press releases, and our local press has also done an excellent job of covering it. So I want to thank you all. I don't know where this will lead, but Rain Ready has got some wings already, all the way to our nation's capital. So stay tuned. I thought that was kind of encouraging. I also want to inform the board that the house on 14715 Keystone is down to the foundation. They are removing the last of the debris. Thank you to the Cook County Sheriff, Willie Winters, and his crew for taking that down at no cost. And any of the, this is going to IDA to pay for the asbestos remediation, the Illinois Housing Development Authority. So that That was taken down at no cost to the village of Midlothian.
Could I ask you a question? Is it possible, because I went by there tonight, and the bricks are down, but the basement area is still open, but there should probably be some sort of fence around it.
We probably can look at that, Joe, so we don't want anybody falling in the foundation. Again, I'm looking for a grant opportunity, as you know, to do a green infrastructure grant there. So when they're done, maybe Superintendent Spear, you can take a look at that. Don't want anybody falling in. Okay. Veterans Committee has taken a hiatus during the holidays, but we are meeting on Monday. So the agenda is posted, and I will send it to our secretary so she can get it out to all of our members, and we do have 2 new members who will be attending. And what else do we? Oh, Attorney Gleason, I have a question for you. I continue to get inquiries about the Dodge Chrysler property from the same individual who has applied. Do you happen to know, do you have a closing date? I asked the mayor before, which we don't.
No, they're still in the 120-day diligence period.
Okay. Do you know when that started?
I don't have the exact date.
Okay.
I can email it to you.
No, I'm just curious. Just curious. Okay. And then I have one question. Now that I was, again, trying to clean out files. And I came across something, so while I have Trustee Moskal and the police chief here together. Question for you. What is the status on the, I know we had talked about revising the ordinance for the overweight trucks.
I'm still working on that. I still
Oh, okay. Do you know when that will be done?
That's, I'm still working on
Okay, and that's all I have this evening.
Okay. Trustee Ivan?
Nothing to report.
Trustee Gillis?
Like I stated before, we did receive 1 new applicant for building superintendent. That gives us 5 on file. Out of those 5, currently 1 meets the requirements that we put on the job description. So hopefully with all the recent advertisement, we'll get a few more applicants in. Update on new business applications. Our Mexican restaurant on 147th Neighbors, I actually can't remember the name.
Las Rapis?
Yes. They are on a waiting list for Class A liquor license. They would like to sell margaritas. We have 3 current gaming facilities, Joker's Wild, Shelley's Hot Flats, and Lacey's Place, that have their liquor certification has been received. They're just waiting approval to open and final inspection. Excuse me. Thomas Diner has a new owner. They've applied for a liquor license, so they're waiting for that. Johnny L's, their background check hasn't come in yet, but they have submitted that for a liquor license. We do have a new owner in the building of Advanced Counseling and Wellness Center. They're waiting for a fire protection system to be put in before they can be inspected. And we have 2 new business applications, which are cafes, Debbie's Cafe and Katie's Cafe. Debbie's Cafe has applied for a business license at 3318 147th Street, and Katie's Cafe has applied for business license at 14814 Cicero. So that's the updates on our current businesses. Our code enforcement, we've had 1 facility that was issued 3 tickets for parking on the sidewalks. We currently went to inspect a business today that we were concerned that we may need an administrative warrant. They asked us to come back Tuesday at 10 o'clock because they were busy today, so we'll do that. And if we do have any issues with it, we will still use the possibility of an administrative warrant if we can do so. Our engineer, Jeff Kozik, actually brought up the idea of updating our zoning map, and we discussed possibly including zoning for gaming cafes or video license. I'd like to work on that, discuss that at next committee meeting, and the possibility of changing a area that is currently B3, that is residential, actually, where, the area where trustee LaRue lives. I haven't found out why that was changed, but it's a small section in a residential that is B2, but just that small section is B3. So I'm gonna look into possibly, if we do a zoning update on the map, to include that, to change that back to R2, I'm sorry.
R2.
Yes. And I believe that's all I have.
Okay. Trustee LaRue?
Can I,
I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation and collective bargaining.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan. Aye. Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
There will be business after closed session.